Hi everyone, this is Neel, Raithatha, consultant audiologist and director of Clearwax. Thank you for joining me in my latest video using the iClearScope endoscope. And I've got a dead skin peel for you. I've not done, or uploaded, should I say, a dead skin peel for a while, so there's no occluding earwax. The patient presented with really itchy ears, and lining the canal is this dead layer of skin which is slightly infected with fungi. And you may see some spores already, but a bit deeper in the ear you will see some hyphae, which is like woolly strands. And we're going to peel all that away. So I'm just using the forceps here, and we're just going to do it in stages. So I'm using the forceps and a suction tip to help peel the skin initially off the canal, and I'm using the forceps to extract it out of the ear. There's a big lining of skin here, which is lining the anterior canal wall. So the front part, this is the patient's right ear, and also the base of the ear canal. It's quite adhesive, so as we're going towards the eardrum, it's almost the skin is more adhered to the canal wall. So we're putting quite a lot of force behind it as we're peeling it, but it's going to be controlled force because the forceps can easily tear the skin and then you lose control of the forceps. And we don't want the forceps to cut the skin, you want it to peel it away. It's easier said than done sometimes. Quite often with the forceps, it can just cut through the skin. Now you may see already a bit deeper that dark layer of skin on the anterior canal wall, and there's a few woolly strands and spores, I think, as well. So it's probably Aspergillus flavus because of the colour, they're like orange and greeny. And we do peel that. I'm going to go back to that a bit later. But before that, I'm just going to the top part of the ear canal. They've got this layer of skin there, so I'm just peeling it down. So the patient could hear very well. They weren't complaining of any of the symptoms apart from their ears being really, really itchy. They did advise getting some water in their ear a couple of weeks prior, and since then, the ears have become a bit itchy, so that could be one primary cause. And they've just had this urge of going in and scratching it, but they did really well because they know it's not a good thing to do. Getting closer to the eardrum. And it was quite dry skin. I wanted to avoid using any drops just because there is some fungal spores in there. So I don't want to encourage the growth by giving any moisture in there. I mean, sometimes it's difficult to avoid using some drops, but here I just about managed. See, the underlying skin is quite healthy. And I'm just using the suction tip, first of all, to get a grip, and then putting a lot of pressure and kind of peeling it down. And I know diet putting some drops in there would have loosened those adhesions, but as I said, I just wanted to avoid it if possible. Then I'm going to use the forceps now. It's going to glide the top jaw in between the flap of skin and the superior aspect of the canal, so the roof, slowly peeling it towards the eardrum and then coming away. And there's still a little bit of skin on the anterior canal wall, so I do go back to that at the end. And before that, I'm just going to work a bit more near the entrance. So this is just past the first bend. You can see some of those hairs in front of the camera, so that's a good telltale sign. That's the first bend. Difficult getting access here because the first bend does move to the left quite a lot, and there's a few hairs that are obstructing the view, but I'm going to use a combination here of suction, the right angle correct, and forceps. You can see just how dry the skin is. And it's the first time the patients ever experience any symptoms with their ears. So just giving them a good... the key thing I've just recommended the patient is to avoid water and try and avoid the urge of scratching your ear using anything. And that's because when you're using a cotton bud, a Q-tip as it's known across the pond, or any other object, of course you run the risk of pushing the wax in, lacerating the ear canal, potentially perforating the eardrum, but you're damaging that epithelial layer of skin. So short term it might give you some relief because you're scratching an itch, but as those skin cells regrow in a couple of weeks' time, the regrowing process is actually quite itchy for the patient. So short-term gain, long-term, you're going to lose out. So if you have got itchy ears, go and see your GP or audiologist in the first instance to see if there's a reason why. If you've got an infection, wax can even cause some itchiness in some people's ears. There are some over-the-counter sprays to stop an itch. In fact, there's going to be drops available in the UK shortly. I've been working with a pharmaceutical company. I've been trialing it for the last 6 months. I initially had some doubts because it's more of an ointment as opposed to a spray, and I was worried that the ointment would collect in the ear canal. However, it was absorbent, so the skin did absorb the drops. So for the first half an hour after using it, you may feel slightly blocked, but be rest assured it does get absorbed, and we've tried it with quite a few patients. Should be ready to launch, I think maybe it is actually, I've just had some emails last few days, just catching up, so, but I will keep you guys informed on that. There's other sprays in the UK over the counter, like acetic acid sprays. The science behind acetic acid sprays is if you do have otitis externa, so inflammation or infection of the outer ear canal, that can cause itchiness, and our ears should be mildly acidic. But when you've got some otitis externa and you do a pH level test in the ear, typically the pH level is risen, it's more neutral, sometimes even alkaline. So acetic acid, which is basically white vinegar, it reacidifies the ear. It makes the ear, it reacidifies it, so it makes it more of a acid pH, which can help reduce itchiness, because some of the bacteria that causes the itchiness, if you've got otitis externa, thrive off a more neutral pH or even alkaline. So by reacidifying the ear, you're not allowing these bacteria to colonize and reproduce and cause itchiness. So just at the point where the cartilage meets the bone here, you can see the difference in the skin consistency. This over here, the cartilage portion of the skin's the canal's a bit more bouncy and a bit deeper. You can see the skin's more glossy and shiny, so that's the bony part. So the bony part of the ear canal has the thinnest layer of skin. It's just the epidermal layer, about 0.1 millimeters in thickness, whereas the outer third that lines the cartilage is about 1 millimeters in thickness. It's 10 times thicker, and it contains the epidermis, the outer layer of skin, the dermis layer, and the hypodermis or subcutaneous layer, which is the deepest layer. It's essentially a layer of fatty tissue, so adipose tissue. So this is that skin. I promised I was going to go back to peel with a few hyphae on there. Once again, just using suction initially, just lifting it so I've got space to then use the jaws, because otherwise, if this isn't the cartilage, I was happy to kind of glide the jaws in between the cartilage and the skin, or even use the Raithatha to kind of, almost like a wallpaper stripper, to get in behind the skin against the canal. But this is on a very centered part of the ear, the osseous region, the bony region, and especially the anterior canal wall here. Now you will get some, you'll see some mild blistering to the right. That's just the skin peeling away. So I've just got enough space now to get the jaws, so the jaw on the right hand side at 3 o'clock on the skin, and it's not touching the canal. So I'm just going to peel right to left first, and then up and also away. So I'm just going up now, almost there. And then you'll see the patient's eardrum looks nice and healthy, and you're going to get a shot of the skin. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care.